The Veteran Guardsman. Most people have dreamed about being in the Imperial Guard, suffering corporal punishment at the hands of a surly commissar, or being thrown into the proverbial meat grinder of the Imperium. Almost sounds like heaven. In this video today, I'm going to help you fight your way out of the meat grinder utilizing my Cadian Veteran build. This has nothing to do with Cadia other than a catchy name I chose. In fact, any character creation decisions in the beginning are only a means to color the conversation between characters in the games, just so that you know that. The way I'm going to structure this video is by going through the build and breaking down every perk choice that I've made. I've linked a picture of the build in the description, so you don't even need to finish watching this video if you don't want to. We'll show off some of the feat choices and how they operate in isolated instances or in like the training field. Then I'll give you an ideal leveling build because this is day one and you definitely aren't a level 30 veteran right now. I'll jump into a quick weapon choice section, which is purely subjective with some standout options here and there. And lastly, we'll close the video out showing you some footage of gameplay using this build and just my closing thoughts. You can quickly navigate to each subject that interests you the most using the chapters in both the description and the timeline. And if you end up enjoying the video, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. I cannot tell you how much that helps out any content creator you watch. And I will be covering a ton of Darktide content with a lot of build, weapon, and general gameplay guides all coming out in the next week or so. I'll be streaming on Twitch as well with the same username as I have on YouTube. Find that in the description. Well, let's get started on my Cadian Veteran build for Warhammer 40k Darktide. So here we have our build for the Veteran Sharpshooter, and unlike a lot of the other classes, the Veteran Sharpshooter's feats don't have a ton of existing synergy, which is not terrible actually. It's actually kind of good. The Psyker has a ton of reliability, and you really don't feel the class come off the ground until level 15 or 20. With the Veteran Sharpshooter, that's not necessarily the case. Now, like I said too, this will be a different feat setup if you are leveling, because you need that kind of end of the tree end of the tree feats to really kick off a lot of what's going on here. So you can use this while leveling, but in just a little bit, we're going to go over what I would do for that. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off all these, and we're going to go through this piecemeal. So the first perk here at level 5 is Exhilarating Takedown. This replenishes 20% toughness on ranged weak spot kills. Keep in mind, your iconic ability here gives you 15% weak spot damage increase. So you want to capitalize on that. And this is going to give you that 20% toughness on your own kind of accord. If you're shooting things and you're killing things with weak spots, then you are going to get this toughness replenished. This confirmed kill requires you to kill an elite. So you do get a ton of toughness, but it's kind of not up to you. Whenever the elites are there, they're there, and you have to kill them. At arm's length, 2 requires that you are 8 meters from an enemy to replenish 7.5 toughness a second. In the higher difficulties, this will not be the case. I guarantee it for you. Moving into level 10, we're going to go with Demolition Stockpile. This replenishes 1 grenade every 45 seconds. The other 2 here are a little bit more situational or better for maybe early leveling. Tactical Reload increases your reload speed if you have ammo in your weapon, and Sniper, it gives you increased damage based on the distance between you and the target. That'll be better in our leveling build. When we move into the next one, we have Bio-Optic Targeting. So Volley Fire on its own will designate nearby non-Ogryn, elite, and specialist enemies as priority targets. For you only. With this, anyone in coherency for you, any ally in coherency also gains these priority targets, so they can see them, they can take them out quicker, and you don't have to deal with it as much. It's a really nice ability. You do also get Demolition Team, which is going to increase the chance that your allies will automatically regenerate a grenade. Now, in the closed beta, this was really strong. In this build, it doesn't seem to be working at a very consistent rate. I think there's a hidden cooldown on this. So even though you're killing thousands of enemies, you're not going to get this to trip off as much, because I think, again, there's like a 1.5 to 2 minute cooldown in between this happening. Was useful, isn't as useful right now, or it might just be bugged. So take this with a grain of salt. It might be different by the time that this actually goes live and everything like that. And covering fire is, again, very situational. It requires you to shoot the enemies that your ally is near, and that's not always the case. You, as a veteran sharpshooter, have the ability to take out immediate threats to the party, like any elite or specialist, so this is kind of a wasted feat in a lot of occasions. Into our next section here, we have actually a double option. We're going to go over that in a little bit, but we're going to go with Duck and Dive. In the latter difficulties, you will be dodging, ducking, diving, dodging, and ducking. because you will be constantly dodging las fire, sniper shots, everything. And anytime you do that, you immediately get 20% stamina back. I'm going to show you how this will work in synergy with the next perk that we're choosing in level 25, Deadshot. So Deadshot gives us 25% critical chance and 60% sway reduction, but you lose 10% stamina per second while using your weapon's alt fire. That is seemingly very punishing. So basically, alt fire is holding down right click to aim down sights. Braced weapons means you just kind of brace it against you. You don't aim down the sight, but basically aiming down sights. But with these two in conjunction, you are constantly getting stamina back because you'll be constantly dodging any kind of las shot being shot your way, and you're getting a 25% critical off of it. It's very, very nice. Into our last option at level 30, we're going to go with counterfire here. Now this is going to stack up with our iconic ability to do weak spot damage. So the 15% here in conjunction with the 25% when you've got during volley fire. So this makes it so you have 40% weak spot damage during volley fire. Also, volley fire can now designate all scab shooters as priority targets. Scab shooters are any of those upgraded looking scabs with the helmet, glowy eyes, and they have like a hot las gun. It's not called a hot las gun, but that's what I've been calling it now for weeks, and I'm sticking with that. But killing a designated enemy during volley fire refreshes its duration. That is what makes this huge. So you get that 40% damage bonus, and if you pop someone's head while you're doing it, any of these priority targets, designated enemies or priority targets that you're shooting at, then you just go ahead and refresh this and you go right back into it. And you're replenishing your toughness because of the exhilarating takedown, the very first perk that we chose. Now there is an alternate version to this, in which case, if you don't want to do the dodging and you don't really like the stamina drain, just go up here to Frag Storm, because applying 2 stacks of bleed to all enemies is actually very, very nice. You can use 2 grenades and completely clear an entire horde, because that grenade stack the bleed stack is really going to help you out. And if you don't want to do the dodging and ducking, again, you can go with unwavering focus to get 75% toughness damage reduction from range attacks during volley fire. Those two things are a little bit more of an easier route. I find this one 30% reload speed on elite kill, not necessarily to be so situational, but we don't know if that's 30% for a set amount of time or just once, and it doesn't seem to really work. Elites are pretty much anything that doesn't spawn into the map at a random time. That's a specialist. So a bomber, a trapper, a hound, the flamers, the mutants, those are all specialists. But the big ogrins and their armor and everything like that, those are elites. The maulers are elites. The dreg berserkers are elites. The scab gunners and shotgunners are all elites. So kind of keep those things in mind when you're looking at these elite versus specialist abilities, because that's going to be the thing that kind of splits it for you. So let's go ahead now and move to what a leveling version of this would look like. Okay, you just made your character, you're trying to learn what you want to do and how you want to progress. Here is how I would go about things, because if you're leveling up, you're probably not playing at the highest difficulties of 3, 4, and 5. You're probably playing 1, 2, maybe 3. So here's the perk choices I would go with. At arm's length is actually pretty good in the beginning, because you don't have to worry about being so far away from things. The waves aren't as big. It's easier to kind of push distance from things. So this works very well. In conjunction with that, you use sniper to deal up to 25% increased damage based on the distance between you and the target. Since you're already going to stay at range, you might as well get some bonuses out of that. When it comes over to these choices like bio-optic targeting, demolition team, and covering fire, I still go with bio-optic targeting. And when it comes to 20 is when I would go into camo expert. While standing still, enemies are significantly less likely to target you. You won't be standing still for very long in any difficulty, so I think really after level 20 is when you can kind of start to pivot into what that quote-unquote endgame build would look like. But if you wanted to kind of keep going with this, I'd go into frag grenade here, and then right at 30 I would respec by simply just going like this to what I had before. So that's how I would kind of do a leveling build, is basically rely on the fact that you do not have to move a whole ton. You do get a lot of frag grenades. I mean, you can go with this one if you want demolition stockpile rather than sniper, it's totally fine. You're leveling up. Explore everything. That's a big thing too I want to impress upon you. Even though I'm suggesting things that you could do, it's from my own experience. Experience the game in the way that you want. Do not think that there's a min-max way to get from level 1 to level 30. There probably is, but who gives a shit? You paid for a game, play the game however the hell you want, and you'll enjoy it far more than when you're at level 30. Min-max the hell out of it, go crazy, but just enjoy the ride, learn everything, play a bunch of different things, and you'll find out which clicks best for you, because you might find a build that works for your play style way better, but this is just kind of a suggestion for a path or a route. So let's show some of this off now. If I hold down right click, we can see that stamina draining. I'll be able to show you the stamina regen, but we have to jump into a mission for that. But I'm using the Cadian to show off some stuff. This allows me to kind of shoot pretty much anything that I can that's generated in here. I can swap out my weapons, whatever it is. So if I go ahead and take a look at this guy, remember I'm doing increased damage to weak spots. 2 shots, right? No big deal. But we're going to pop in. You saw that was around 150 and I think 110 damage. If I pop into Sharpshooter mode, it goes down real quick. And it's replenishing each time because I have that one perk and I'm killing elites. So it stays in that mode for a long time. If I can just kind of line up these elite shots over and over and over. Now, of course, I'm not killing elites right now. Well, these are elites, sorry. In this instance, you won't have this controlled vacuum where you are taking advantage of killing tons and tons of elites. It will probably last you for a little bit longer than normal. But still, you see how that has a lot of really great effect. I'm doing 40% more damage there, and it's really, really, really paying off. I get increased crit chance because of my already perk choice that I've chosen there with the drain on my stamina, but I also am just staying in that for a long time, and I can see these scab gunners and everything like that. They're easy to kill. That's a scab gunner, by the way. As you can see, scab gunner. And it's just kind of nice to line everything up. Everyone else can see them, and it makes it way easier for my team. Let's jump into a mission really quick, and I can show you the stamina drain and how dodging that can actually work out. Okay, we're in a mission now. Let me show you how this stamina drain and everything works. I've tried to do this shot like 40 times, so I'm like almost dead. But if I hold down right click, you can see my stamina is draining. And as I come over here, we'll start to get shot at. And as I just kind of go left and right, got a sniper shooting at me. But I'm not doing anything. My stamina is just going up, dodging left, dodging right. So I don't really have to worry about my stamina with this thing taking basically a constant toll, right? Oh, get shot by a sniper. But in the middle of narrating that, you understand here how it's like important that your stamina will regenerate if you use that feat. It allows you to constantly have that stamina up. And stamina is important, remember, because you use this to block, to push, to sprint. So stamina is crucial. You won't die like this because you won't have 3 bots on your team, but still, just simply dodging those bolts constantly allows my stamina to replenish. Hey, thanks, Xavier. What a trying situation. Try to go for the clutch there, but you get the point nonetheless. So for weapon choices, you really can't go wrong with any kind of ranged weapon that fits the playstyle you have in mind, because there's nothing really in this build that requires this very specific weapon to pop off. And that's kind of the nice thing about Vermintide in general. You don't necessarily have to be hinged, or well, the Tide games in general, you don't have to be hinged upon a very specific weapon. But some of my standout ones are really these top 3 right here. The braced autogun is really, really good. It has a high capacity magazine. It allows you to get a lot of shots down range, and those shots can punch through armor depending on your actual attribute rolls. Just the standard Cantrell MG 1A infantry lasgun, because there's a bunch of different ones here. See, this one is a MG 4 infantry lasgun. I think there's another one down here somewhere, but still, specifically this one is one of my favorites because it has a high capacity magazine, does a lot of good punching power, and it can really just take things down quickly. Then lastly is the bolt gun. I don't have access to the melt-a-gun in this build. We will probably have that come the 17th, or at least launch for sure. And I didn't get a plasma gun to drop for my character. Indy probably did, and they're amazing. So the plasma gun would be on this list, but I cannot show it, unfortunately, because I just don't have one. But the bolt gun is just the best weapon in the game to me because it's so satisfying to shoot. Like, I'm just going to take shots at this guy's just center mass. It just kills so quickly. You can aim for a single shot burst if you want, but otherwise it's it's just so satisfying, and it suppresses things. It's so chunky and good feeling. Oh yeah, that just felt right. It felt right. As far as melee weapons go, again, use whatever you want. My favorite ones, though, are definitely the power sword. It has the best attack profile of anything, in my opinion. Then the tactical axes, both of them are very, very good. Again, have really great damage profiles, as well as assassins, so they do more damage in the rear. And then the chain axe is just super fun and rewarding. But let me show you how the power sword works. If you don't have access to the power sword, which you will not at level 1, the claw swords are what I recommend instead. So for one, you have the ability to activate this and do quite good damage to anything, especially with armor for a melee weapon and a veteran sharpshooter. I can still kill them all if I need to. But if I just hold down left click, my attack profile is at head level. So it pretty much just auto chops people's heads off, which is very nice when you're getting swarmed. Remember too, since this has an activate ability, if I activate, block, and push stab, it'll still use that activated power sword to do the damage, which is very nice. This is probably one of my favorite melee weapons in the game. But again, choose whatever weapon fits your playstyle the best. These are just a little bit of my choices based off of what I've played. The other axes don't really perform very well in my opinion, and some of the other las guns have too small of a magazine. So make sure you're getting something with a high amount of damage in a low magazine, or a just high amount of damage in a high magazine. That's probably my best advice to you when it comes to range weapons, because you don't want to run out of ammo in a key engagement. This has got 58 rounds, which is not a whole ton, but center mass, I'm taking out something with armor in 18 shots. It's a great gun. So now that you've seen the build as far as how I built it and some of the things with my weapon choices, here's just some general gameplay of me playing it and my closing thoughts here. So the veteran sharpshooter is a character that is really going to thrive in that back line, and using this build, it just builds off of the synergy of really trying to take advantage of weak spot damage, trying to keep your volley fire up the whole time, and at the same time, anytime you're doing that weak spot damage and killing someone, keeping your toughness up. Stamina is going to be a little bit of a juggling act for you, but it's something that you're going to be playing with as you learn this game. Dodging is crucial to you in this game. If you've watched my tips video I put out, what I said in that is that this is not a game about killing so much as crowd control and managing when to kill. In the higher portions of the higher difficulties of the game, you will not be able to just kill things free range like you can in difficulties 1 and 2. In fact, I'd say Darktide's difficulty curve is very hard and very steep, but hopefully this build will help you kind of tackle that curve, because it rewards you for being accurate, doing damage on the weak spots, and getting that toughness back. Remember, toughness is an infinite resource. It will constantly replenish, versus your health is a finite resource. You have to go find med stations or use medical whatever to replenish it. So this is a great way to keep that infinite resource topped off, so you hopefully, and trust me, you will, not have to dip into your health and possibly die. So if you have any questions about the build, or you're struggling to get Sharpshooter off the ground, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. More than happy to help you out. If you're struggling in general with any class, that is totally normal. The first 5 to 10 levels are kind of brutal until you unlock some feats and you feel like the class isn't just simply pressing left click. So wait until you get some feats unlocked, and then you can really kind of feel the class out a little bit more, Sharpshooter aside. So if you're coming here from another class wondering if you should go to Sharpshooter, again, give it some time, you'll get there. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.